Yeah! Alright. We got a wine! Finally! A Shiraz! That I want to drink! You know what I'm saying? Alright. This is the Guardian Peak from 2008 Shiraz at 14.5% alcohol from South Africa. It is January 1st. We're starting the year off right. 2015. Okay, so this has some age on it. This bottle was way under 20 bucks. This was like, every wine I bought that day was like between 11 and at the very most $15. So this was probably like a $13 bottle of wine. We'll just average it. I don't buy expensive wine, so I'm always looking for extreme bargains on wine. So you've turned into the right channel if you want to check out some wines that are under 20 bucks. They're going to blow your mind. Because that's the goal here, right? That's my goal. Let's going to top this up a little bit. We'll discuss what's going on here. Okay, so this wine opened up pretty much ready to drink. I would recommend tasting it fresh out of the bottle as it progresses until it only took about half an hour for it to really start to come together. 40 minutes in, it was really tightening up. After about an hour, this wine is ready to serve. 2 hours, you're really good. I mean, 2 hours were great. Usually, I don't even come and start filming things until hour number 3 with a lot of cheap wines, because not the price has much to do with it, I don't think at all, really. But I mean, we'll maybe discuss that a bit later. But not that I'm an authority on that, but I have my theory. So this is really, really, really making me happy right now, because this is a Shiraz that is really delicious, and I haven't had a good Shiraz in a long time. In fact, I don't think I've ever had a Shiraz that's this good. I've had maybe Shiraz and Shirazes that were good amongst blends, I'm thinking. But this is a straight Shiraz at 14.5% from South Africa, and I'm loving it. And I've went to South Africa. People told me that, oh, South African wine is insanely delicious. And I kind of thought, I tried one bottle of South African wine that was very spicy, very insane. It was the one with the bird on the bottle, the Obisque or whatever, but it was I can't remember what varietal it was, and this was a long time ago, maybe 17 years ago, and it blew my mind, because it was so horrible. But I mean, not that brand, everything that brand carries. It was just a very insane wine that was maybe designed for some special thing. This is fabulous, and I will give a shout out to Two Oceans. Very cheap wine from South Africa, and if you want to try a good Malbec, that's where you go, because that stuff is amazing. So a great fresh acidity, a fabulous freshness to the start of the wine, a bit of a greenness, a great mouthfeel. Kind of got that zip, that fresh bubbly zip, kind of like a fresh white wine that kind of has that zip when you first open it. Very fresh. 2008. This is still very murky on the pour. Very murky, turbid. Mouthfeel with it is really great in a very good way. It's very attributing to the mouthfeel and the flavors. I like thick, heavy, unfiltered, turbid beer. I've had a lot of murky, muddy Shiraz that I didn't like, you know what I mean? But this is a murky, muddy Shiraz that is coming off great and fresh. A lot of grilled vegetables, slightly planty. The way that this wine morphed from opening, as because wine has changed since you open it. Like you open it, it's not going to stay the same very long after you pop that cork or twist it off. Pour yourself a glass, get some air into that bottle. Don't drink the wine too fast. I usually open wine as I start cooking supper. So I'll open it, pour a glass, taste it, and it's usually like, whoa, this is a bit acidic. This is a bit whatever. This was as well. It wasn't. There are wines that are fabulous right out of the bottle. This one, like I say, give it an hour, and that's pretty good. Like to give this an hour, just have it ready to like rock and roll. Give this 2 hours, and you got yourself a treat. I mean, this is all the awkwardness. You can kind of feel the awkward flavors. The oakiness really just started to shine through within half an hour. You take a drink of it, it was just like an oak explosion. I mean, you could taste. It was almost like you were right there when they were sawing the oak. I mean, you could just the oak was just incredible. The amount of oakiness, the most oakiness I've ever had out of a wine, but it was still delicious. So it was still good to taste it. As it morphed from minute number 1 to minute number 30, I mean things were just going crazy with this wine, and but it was still drinkable. A little bit of a fresher acidity, a little bit more sour, as most wines. But that I was a little bit scared. Is this going to get worse? Breathe time? No, it just creamed right out. It's like just flat, smooth, creamy. Now there's not really any acidity that's really going to stand out as being offensive at all in this any longer. So, whoops. The bouquet and the aroma off this is out of this world. This is a fabulous aroma coming off of this. Typical flat out Shiraz aroma, but a little bit mellower, a little bit creamier, a little more full. It's rich. But it's not over spicy on the nose or anything like that. It's not thin in any way, like thin, spicy, heavy harshness. It's like the Shiraz flavor, but very, very thick and full, but yet well balanced and subtle. Not subtle, but not over the top. When you think of a spicy, heavy, like let's say Shiraz or a Malbec, these heavier varietals from Australia and Argentina that you're probably used to drinking, are a little bit outrageous in comparison to this. This is much more full, level, and well balanced. Because it's fuller, it doesn't have that the edginess because it has all that, but it's leveled off and creamier. I just going to call it creamier. It's a little more basic. It's kind of covering up the acid and the harshness behind whatever is causing that, like the problems with what's going on with whatever, maybe with the year or whatever. Whew. So like I said, grill vegetables. You are pulling out oak, grape skins. For a while, this was just singing perfectly ripened black cherry. Very cool. The mouthfeel. Just a great Shiraz finish. You're tasting the varietal. Like this is Shiraz, but you can't deal with it because it's so much better than the other Shirazes you've probably ever had. And I'm plugging this big time because I don't know what the politics are going on in South Africa. I know it's not good. And I don't know if everyone's down on what's going on. I don't really understand. I haven't really done any research on it. But I hope everything gets cleared up because it is a damn shame that the world's best potential vineyard, possibly on the entire face of the earth, is having trouble, because I didn't see very many wines in the South Africa section on my wine shelf. That's why I would love to see more. I'm glad that they're dirt cheap, being like, what, this $13 a bottle? You poured this in a glass right now and gave it to someone and told them it was an $80 bottle of wine or $100 bottle of wine, they wouldn't question it. I mean, it is fabulous. I don't know. I've never had a $100 bottle of wine, because any time I've ever spent above the $20 mark, I've just been let down. So I'm looking at what varietal, from where, in what year. This is the criteria that I'm looking for. I think that that's far more important than maybe some other things that people maybe like. How much does it cost? I mean, I don't think that that's too valid, because a couple things I've noticed are. See, I'm in Canada here, so Okanagan Valley in British Columbia is producing a lot of wines now. And I go to the Canadian wine section, there's a lot of Okanagan wines. You're not going to find one for. You're going to be pretty much around the $30 mark for just getting into an Okanagan wine. As an Ontario wine, you can still get $20 and under, and I find that I much prefer many of the Ontario wines over the Okanagan wines. And I have been trying to find some of the what do you call it, the new hip brand or whatever with the Okanagan stuff, but it's all sold out. So I have by no means tried all the Okanagan wines or the varietals coming from Okanagan, but it doesn't seem to matter on the quality, because I'm getting like really good stuff from Ontario for, let's say, $15, $16 a bottle as compared to $30 from Okanagan. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really translate to me as a value thing. And I don't know if anyone who has bought many $200, $300 bottles of wine, and I'm not talking about, I don't know much about champagne. I'm not really into champagne, but I'm just mean like Chile, for example, is bringing wines, a red wine to the table that is for $9. You can pick up a Chilean Merlot. I was not interested in Merlot at all until I tried a Chilean Merlot, and I was like, wow, this is what Merlot tastes like. This is awesome, This is a great wine, because I just had the French Merlot, which is expensive, and the cheap French wine, I can't get into, and I don't want to spend more money on a wine that it probably isn't going to impress me anymore. So if you know of any flaws in the philosophy that I'm talking about, please post and discuss this, because I would like to know, because I'm finding that this South African stuff is the best wine I've ever had in my life. I like Malbec and I like Shiraz. I like these heavy. I like Red Zinfandel. I like heavy, bold red wines, and I'm finding that you don't have to pay a lot of money for them. So we're moving into hour number 2. I think it's safe to say this is probably the best Shiraz I've ever had in my life, hands down. The finish is it's just getting so much more subtle and so much more delicious and well-rounded, and kind of like a great Belgian beer. The highest rated Belgian beers are actually kind of subtle, creamy, well-balanced, full, rich, heavy. So there's a lot. It's very rich. It's like a rich dessert. It's up here in richness. But there's no real big spicy spikes, which what you would get in a cheaper Belgian beer. Not that they're not good, but you're getting a lot more pepper out of some of these not as highly rated Belgian beers. You're getting more pepper spice. You're getting the same way you would get out of a Shiraz. You're getting a lot more pepper and stuff out of these cheaper ones. But, if you're looking for something much richer and up there, well balanced and full and creamy and so you're getting like a bigger presence throughout the drink, with less of a insanity, acidic notes, unbalanced shit. You know what I mean? I'm going on here 14 minutes. This is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Now into hour number 2, you can put lots of air through it. You're just getting a little bit more oak, a little more spiciness, a little more red fruit, a little bit of pomegranate. The black cherry is gradually changing into pomegranate. And we're getting less and less grilled vegetables, but they're still up in there. They're still in the aftertaste. They're still in the front and the middle. It's very cool and refreshing. It's becoming more and more subtle, yet more and more rich. You know, like let's say I did the Trappist Rochefort 8 a little while, not too long ago, and I found a very similar phenomenon, which with Trappist Rochefort 8 is a very highly rated beer, one of the higher rated beers in the world. So, and I'm finding similar things amongst here. So for all your wine and beer reviews, not all of them, but you know, if you want to check out some wines, I'm going to concentrate a little bit more on wine, home brewing. Still going to do lots of beers. Got quite a few beers on here, but definitely I'm looking for this kind of stuff. You know, under $15, blow your mind, crazy shit. 2008, you kidding me? In 2015? Beerzerker! I'm going to give this I almost want to give this 100%. I almost want to rate this wine 100 out of 100. That's how much I like this wine. That's how great this is. Drinking a bottle of 2008 in 2015. That's how good this is. I really can't see it getting any better. I'm sure there's a wine out there that might blow my mind a little bit more, but this is going to get a high rate. I give this 98 out of 100. 14.5% wine that drinks like this? Are you kidding me? Some serious wine, people, and I'm out. Yeah!